was yeah, very happy to be invited to speak to you all today. So I work as the program manager at Google Fonts, and for the last 10 years or so, I've managed the type library in the Google Fonts collection. So we're making typefaces available to everyone in the world under the SIL Open Font license, and we now have over 1,000 typefaces, and that covers dozens of writing systems and hundreds of languages. And the St. Bride Library foundation, community, and events were very important to me in my career and getting to this position. So I wanted to sort of present to you today two things. I wanted to take you back to when I was a student and some of those St. Bride events, and then to kind of jump ahead to right now, and where I'm most excited about the future of typography. So here's a picture of me back then when I was a little student, and I was attending the Ravensbourne College of Design and Communication. Back then it was down in Chislehurst near Bromley, and I was enrolled in the graphic design program there. And the typography that I was becoming interested in wasn't really available in the sort of curriculum. And so I was really happy to discover the St. Bride Library and events like Bad Type, which was in 2004, which had a lot of different speakers, a lot of different topics, and really kind of drew me into this world of typography. And a special shout out to Carol Vanderwoord, who was a designer who was at this event, who I met there. And through meeting him, I sort of did an internship with him, and that really got me sort of deep into this world of typography. And so I feel like, the St. Bride, library, the event space, the conferences that are held there were so valuable to me as a student at establishing my interest in typography and ultimately type design. And when I was searching around, on the web, making this presentation, I came across this web page that Eric Van Blokland had published, back in 2004 at the event about, sort of bad typefaces. And I was so pleased to see that web page is still online. I believe there's a lot of students who are joining the event today, and so I thought I'd mention that as it's sort of stood the test of time over 15 years later. And so another event that I attended at St. Bride back then when I was a student was the Typotechnica, which was a sort of type technology event. And this was for me very exciting because it really showed me the depth of different kinds of skills and knowledge that's needed to practice as a typographer and a type designer. There was these lectures about different writing systems, Arabic, Hebrew, Indian writing systems, and the sort of schedule of lectures and events really kind of gave me this global perspective, and this map, I think, is really interesting. It's kind of unusual projection of the globe, and it tries to show the continents, sort of at scale. And so the normal distortions that we have when we look at the kind of Mercator map we're used to seeing, kind of distort our perception of the world. And so it was at these St. Bride events and lectures that really opened my eyes to the need for better typography all around the world. And so this combination of things, the visual language, visual culture, the linguistics, language itself, the technology, the business, and of course the history were sort of all brought together to me at those events, and really inspired me to really work on this as a career. So I eventually enrolled at the University of Reading, as some of the other speakers today, in the MA, the Master's Program in Typeface Design. And I designed a typeface, for digital devices. In fact, it was the first Android mobile phone that I was specifically designing a typeface for. And in my dissertation, I wrote about this concept of free Libra open source fonts, and why I felt that was very interesting and important work. And at that time in 2008, there was this new technology of web fonts, and I thought that this could become very interesting to have a sort of central place on the internet to make freely available fonts available as web fonts. And so here we are many years later, and so with Google Fonts, what we've been working on the last couple of years is this new font technology called variable fonts. And so today I wanted to communicate to you what I see as the main benefits of this technology, and sort of suggest to you, that if you're going to be practicing typography, in the future, that this kinds of fonts are well worth looking closely at. The kind of potential which I saw in typography as a student, and over the last sort of 15 years I've been working towards, I still see there's so much potential in expanding the world of typography, the practice of typography. And it's kind of funny, with St. Bride, the history is all there, and at the same time, there's in some ways we're just at the beginning of what typography can do for the world. So there are these three benefits to variable fonts: to take an existing set of fonts and compress them, to improve the way that fonts can be expressive, and also to improve the fine details of typography and finesse text. So here on Google Fonts, if you go to the Google Fonts product, you can see you have a little checkbox you can select to filter down to see only the variable fonts. And some of these have a wide range of weights. And before variable fonts technology, that would mean a lot of files, a lot of file size, and a lot of latency. And those can now all be available as a single file. And not only those previous static fonts can be available, like the light or the heavy weight, but now you can pick any weight. And so you can even find quite extreme weights within the range of weights offered. And then finally, to finesse your typography, you may notice that when you have a typeface and you choose the bold style, it becomes wider. That can affect the line layout. And if it's a headline, it could break that line onto two lines. And so by being able to kind of finesse the weight, you may be able to choose a headline weight and then just make a small adjustment to get it to fit onto one line. So this kind of fine tuning of things, I think, is for me the most interesting thing. A lot of variable fonts, there's animations, kind of looping GIFs on social media, but for me, this kind of text typography stuff's really the kind of fascinating aspect. And there's this aspect of variable fonts called optical size, where you can have a typeface that varies the letter forms in response to the size of use. So on the left here, we have the Roberto family of static fonts that's been around for many years. And on the right, we have this new version of Roberto called Roberto Flex. And you can see, that the way the weight is designed to respond to the size gives a very even type ramp. Whereas on the left, there are different weights used. So that headline one is actually Roberto Light compared to the regular that's used in the other sizes. So those are the three benefits of variable fonts. And you can read more about this on the Google Design blog, on the web.dev developer resource. And then also this is a link to Eric's wonderful page on bad type from that same Ride event all those years ago. All right, thank you very much.